So for the keynote today, the topic is post-COVID marketing trends. And just so we have a bit of background on this, a trend is a shift in the behavior of the market that affects the way they interact with the market and some of the sort of actions that they are taking. These actions are driven by attitudes and basically their feelings. So what we're doing is basically looking at what we anticipate the behavioral trends and action trends are going to be in the marketplace on the upswing out of COVID. Let me press this. There we go. So a couple of weeks ago, I should say a couple of meetings ago, we had a topic called Business Recovery in the Post-COVID Future, delivered by Tim Keeler. And we talked a little bit about how to shift your organizational mindset to be more in a recovery mode. We mentioned navigating some of the uncertainties out there and how to just deal with not knowing exactly what's going to happen next. How to build trust with your stakeholders, which would be your staff, some of your top clients. And then it ended off with developing an internal recovery playbook that was a very generic kind of, these are the considerations you would want to go through in fortifying your business to be in recovery mode. And a lot of that information was fantastic information that was inward facing. It was taking a look and taking stock within your company, within your mindset, and how to reset those things and make sure that you're on the right foot to go back into the market. So that was our internal look at how you deal with post-COVID uncertainty. Now we're sort of changing our perspective to be market-facing and saying, what do we anticipate the behavior of the market is going to be, and what are the clients and consumers going to be doing differently, and how do we react to those? So we're going to examine how COVID-19 has changed business to consumer marketing. That's what the B2C is. And also how that impacts the business to business environment and how we need to change our attitudes there. We all are consumers, so we all know how the consumer mindset has changed. We're just going to kind of reiterate some of that. I didn't want to get too far down that path because, again, that's who we are and we know those things. And not all of our businesses are consumer facing. Some of us are. Tim and Grant deal with the consumer, whereas people like myself, people like Chris are often business to business now. We're pivoting in that direction. And so we're trying to answer both of those considerations here in this presentation. And we'll wrap up with how your marketing can align with these trends that we are noticing starting to emerge. Please feel free to jump in at any point if you would like to add something or ask me anything. So looking at business to consumer marketing before COVID hit. So let's think back to the beginning of the year. Most of the marketing language and messaging was about the story of you as the consumer, telling you, you deserve the best, you deserve a break, you deserve this awesome experience, you deserve esteem and comfort and joy, and we want to provide you with that. We want to give you more self-actualization and make you the center of your universe even more than you already are. So I'm showing you Maslow's hierarchy of needs here, and we can see that pre-COVID, in the time of yore, a lot of the messaging was aimed at the top of this pyramid. And, you know, talk about first world problems. We were sort of pretty steady in our physiological and safety and security and social needs. We were really aiming for the top of the mountain and making our lives better in the land of bounty here that we know. So that's what we were seeing before COVID. Now introduce a highly contagious airborne virus that could kill you. And how does that change everything? You know, definitely the COVID-19 pandemic introduces a threat to our health and safety. To what degree is arguable. You know, you hear the people saying, well, it's killing 0.001% of people. It's sort of irrelevant as well, though, because ultimately the institutional response from governments and businesses and schools and everyone else was to shut down the economy, and that threatens our financial security. So it doesn't matter how deadly you think the virus is, ultimately the response is still the same, and we all feel that when the economy is shut down for a lengthy period of time. There was a study of 5,000 consumers in North America, and the results came back that 80% of consumers had experienced either a reduction in work, less pay, or an entire loss of a job. So either less work, less pay, or lost job. 80% of consumers are feeling that pain, which is an extremely high percentage. So of course, that's going to impact their financial security and the market's financial security as a whole. And then marketing was suddenly very much about stay home and stay safe. So as you can see on the hierarchy of needs, we dropped right down from the top into this band of being solely focused on safety and security. And that definitely changes how the market is going to react and behave. So how did that behavior manifest? Well, it's not, even though a lot of people saw a reduction in work and pay and jobs, it doesn't mean that spending stops. It means that spending is going to be much more focused on essentials, and they are being prioritized above luxuries. So, you don't get that new car every 3 years this year because you can still drive your 2018 car. It's perfectly fine. You're not going to take 2 vacations this year. So there is a big reduction in spending, and mainly in some certain industries and markets. But overall, people are putting their safety ahead of everything else. And that's what we were told as well. It's not, the economy was not as important as safety and health and that sort of thing. So if you feel that, buying up a bunch of product is your best play at staying safe, then you're still going to spend money. So despite the financial hardships, spending is not dead. It's just down a little bit. So online commerce is up in the other regard, and we've seen that for everything: goods, dining, and entertainment. We're living in a world of Amazon, Netflix, and Uber Eats, and we're all way more comfortable with that than we were a year ago. We knew it was out there, and there were a lot of early adopters, but it has become much more prevalent in our everyday lives now. And to reinforce the things that Joanne is seeing in her business, we see consumers are being much more focused on their home, whether it's as a DIY project, home improvement in general, or just feeling like, if this is our future where we're going to experience these lockdowns periodically, we want to be ultimately comfortable and secure in our home. So let's focus on our castle for a little while. So that's some of the behavior that we saw during COVID-19. How does that change our buyer expectations in the marketplace? Certainly our buyers, especially at a consumer level, a B2C level, they're looking for safety precautions being taken by their businesses that they deal with. So they want to know that we're doing the right things as businesses, that we're taking all the precautions, we're providing all the safety measures. Their expectations have changed in understanding that they cannot get everything they want anymore. Even though you say, I walk into the store and I go to the shelf that I'm looking at and there's the product I want and they don't have it. That's not anything I'm used to. I've never seen this before. It was a bit of a shock for us in our house to not be able to just go out and buy exactly what we want, right when we want it. But we've learned to tailor our expectations now to the new normal of what business consumer marketing and business looks like. We also have curbed our expectations with having more patience with businesses, because we know that there is an adjustment period for them to either catch up in supply chain or institute new safety precautions or adjust to their suppliers not having everything that they should have and all of those things. So as consumers, we're much more patient than we were before. And our expectation of the customer experience is much lower than it has been in the past. We are focused on essentials. We are focused on what is available, what can we get safely, and what can be delivered safely, whether it's through curbside pickup or by appointment or dropped off by Amazon. We're focused on those things. And the third messaging thing that we are seeing from businesses during this time, if they don't say, here's what's available, or they don't say, here's how we can deliver it, if they can't do either of those things, what they're saying is, we know you're not dealing with us right now, but we're here when you're ready. We will be, we're standing by. When things get back to normal, our business will be ready for you. So you may not have time for us right now, or you may not, we may not be your number one priority, but you are still ours. So that's sort of the messaging that we're seeing during COVID-19 for the consumer market. Looking ahead to where this goes as we come out of COVID, in a post-COVID idea, the consumer marketing messaging will change. We know it will. We know that there will be a need for more social connection in a marketplace. Looking over at the hierarchy of needs again, it will climb back up towards the top. And we've seen the view from the top of the mountain. We loved it. We've had to slide down and be safe and practical, but we're going to want to climb the mountain again and be back at the top. So the first step will be back into social needs. There will be a big draw on businesses to provide personal service and attention. The cry and the rally will be for local and community support. And I'm sure you've already seen that begin, where it's, shop local, support local, let's be a community again. We're all in the same boat. We're all experiencing this at the same time in the same way. So there will be a return of the customer experience in a growing and stronger way towards the end of this year and early into next year. So that's the consumer market. We understand that. What are the implications for the business-to-business market in the business world? How does that affect companies like Sean's company and my own company, where we say, okay, we know what people are dealing with on a personal consumer level. What do they bring into their businesses that changes their attitudes? The economic shutdown brought a lot of reduced staff, lost jobs, working with just the essential staff if possible. So we know the businesses are looking to do more with less. The expectations on them to meet profit lines and to continue to grow are not going away. They are still driven to do that. They just have to do it with fewer resources now. So that drives a need for outsourcing in a lot of cases. It becomes a much more cost-effective option for businesses rather than bringing on people that they had furloughed or laid off or hiring new people in general. Outsourcing becomes a much more viable option for a lot of businesses. And I think that this also reflects what Sean was reporting today about how they're looking for systems and they're looking for software. There's a new focus on investment in fortifying the business and becoming much more digital and fluid that way. It's an earthquake that we all experience business-wise. So a lot of companies are going, how do we protect ourselves moving forward? How do we strengthen the infrastructure in our company and the foundation of the company so that we can survive these things as they come in the future? And we know that everybody is online now. So, we kind of got left behind maybe a little bit. We need to make sure that we are up to speed and at the forefront of digital transformation if we want to stay viable and relevant. So those are the implications in the business-to-business marketing world. And the expectations of that type of customer is they're definitely looking for virtual meetings. We know we are doing this way more than we ever did before. The Zoom meeting is so commonplace now. If you're meeting with somebody, the assumption is it's going to be virtually. And it's out of courtesy and out of respect. It's out of an abundance of caution, whatever it is. We've made that allowance now that our interactions are going to be digital as much as possible right now.
Hey, Damon.
Yes.
Sorry, it's Bill. Can I ask a question on that, maybe even to the group? Like, I agree with that for probably 75, 80% of my customers. I've still got I don't want to call them significant, but I've got an identifiable percentage who still absolutely no questions asked want to meet. And like, I even get blowback about, like the fact that we have like, hey, like you got to wear a mask in here. Like, let's make sure we're 6 feet apart. Like, so I'm curious how people are dealing with that. Like, am I the only person encountering that? Or B, how are people dealing with that?
So, Bill, I'll answer that really quickly. So, we have 2 medical clients, last 3 now. So, one of them basically has a bottle of hand sanitizer at the reception, and that's it. So, they're one of the distributors for hydroxychloroquine, right? That they're going like gangbusters because every time Trump tweets, they're really busy. Their social distancing is sort of, it happened because he just moved into an office, so they've got a little bit more office space, but no one in the company is wearing masks except the warehouse staff because they share shipping stations. We have another company that is basically elective surgery around the eye, and they have sent everybody home with the exception of 2 or 3 people in their production facility. And they are masks, gloves, hand sanitizer. They're providing all the PPE for them. The third one is they require in-person meetings. And I would have been in Brantford today if I, hadn't put my back out. But they are like a manufacturer. They wear masks inside the buildings. If you get up, kind of like a restaurant, if you get up from your table, you get up from your desk, you put on the mask, you do what you need to, social distancing, hand sanitizer, that sort of thing. So it's all over the place for us.
Right. So how do you deal with that, right? Like, so I mean, I kind of roll with the punches. I've got staff who either get, that get uncomfortable by that. Maybe there's no right answer.
Yeah, and what we've coached our staff to do as well is just to say, like, do what's comfortable for you. We will explain to our clients that, we will follow whatever your procedures are because we are there to respect you. But also, if your standard is less than what our individual staff member feels, our individual staff member will take the appropriate precautions for them.
Right.
So
That's
as much as we'll respect your policies, you have to respect ours, and let's be patient and tolerant. And setting that up front gets rid of all of the anxiety and all of the rules. Because I think what's happening is where, like, the one client who doesn't do anything, there's no communication. People are anxious to go there. Like, even some of their other subcontractors don't want to go to this office because they don't know what to expect. There's no communication.
Right.
So I think if you over communicate that and put that mutual respect piece in, it goes a long way to removing that anxiety for staff.
Yeah, good call.
And we're sort of talking apples and oranges, I think, because Sean's talking about businesses and Bill's talking about individuals, right?
I experience individuals like Bill, and you all know that I'm pretty strict with this, and I'll use one of 2 examples. Number one, my daughter working in a nursing home, we've got to proceed with an extra amount of caution. And 2, I've got 500 clients. Number one, the ones that are adamant about meeting you are typically the ones that I want to stay away from. I don't tell them that, but try and find a way of saying, okay, this is for everybody's protection. And if I go out and meet somebody and then I come and meet you, then I haven't protected anybody. So I've taken the stance that, no, all of my meetings are separated or in a Zoom format. And that's just the way it is. I've had a number. I had one ask me to come to their house next week. And I just said, no, it's got to be on Zoom for the protection of everybody. I can't just go into one and then that puts everybody else at risk. And it's my responsibility to keep not only your finances safe, but your family safe too. And I haven't had any pushback after that.
Yeah, that's good too.
What are you finding, Joanne, with people in their homes especially? How are you finding this?
Oh, there we go. Sorry. So what we're finding is we're really trying not to go to anybody's homes right now. Fortunately, we have enough projects that we're just doing the work either at home or in our studio. And we're finding that today is an unusual day. We're both in the studio, but often we're doing work at home. But this week we did have somebody come in because they have to see all the tiles. Like, they have to see them. They're spending a lot of money on the project. So they need to come in. So just literally, as Sean says, like right up front, I say, okay, so when you come in, we have hand sanitizer, please sanitize your hands. And we all wear masks when you do come in. So that's really, it seems to be working. And I try and stay over at this part of the office and I sit them over at the other side of the office. And that's how we do it. I walk around and just show them all the tiles. But yeah, just communication up front is, I think, key.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of design work for a retail store who needs to put up signage and instructions for clients and make all of that known. So I think, Bill, the right answer is thorough communication. And then even if you're not on the same page, at least you've expressed those things so that you can say, our policy is this is my level of comfort. I hope you can, find a middle ground with that. But just being upfront with the communication seems to be the best policy there. The point, not to say this was this is a great conversation about it, but the point on the slide was to illustrate that it is part of a new level of expectation from the marketplace. So there are going to be people that want this. And it's not everybody, to Bill's point, but there are some people that are going to definitely expect that you're only meeting virtually. So you need to be aware of that. Businesses, to pick up where we left off, businesses are also looking to optimize their budgets. Clearly, there's been a downturn in the market, in the spending, and in their resources. So they're trying to do more with less, as we said before. They're looking to optimize their budgets. They're looking for partners and suppliers that can be stable and reliable. Especially because a lot of companies didn't survive this and are not doing well right now. So they definitely want to feel more confident in their business partners and in their suppliers. They're looking for support and insight. So we're all in this next normal, new normal, and it's all very uncertain for us. So companies are out there looking for somebody who can give them more information, more support, more hand-holding, so that they think they're making a better decision, a more informed decision, given the limited amount of information that we can garner right now. And lastly, the B2B space is looking for innovation and creativity. Clearly, I'm super impressed with Chris being able to pivot his business right now in, a very events-focused service that has had to change drastically. But we're all trying to do new things with new situations. So if you come to a prospect with some innovative ideas and ways to do business and creative ways to take advantage of changing behaviors, that's going to certainly serve you well in your marketing. So knowing that these are the expectations of our marketplace, how do we align our marketing to meet these trends, both at a consumer level and at a business-to-business level? There are 2 slides here, so we'll start with the first one. First, be virtually social and engage your community. Do the Zoom calls, be in contact as much as possible, be communicating as much as you can. In Emily's business, they are doing what they're calling link and clink meetings with their top clients, just to have basically a virtual cocktail party, just one-on-one with their clients, so they can catch up with them, see what their world is like, offer whatever support they can, and just stay in touch and stay in a positive space with them. Another thing you can do is offer new value through collaborative interactions, meaning, and I always think of what I learned from Sean's company in this is offering free assessments, free consultations, free webinars. It's a way to give new value to people. They're looking for more information and more metrics and more detail. But if you can give it to them for free, that adds value to them. But it's also something that you're doing together. It's not just, fill out this form. It's let's look at your situation. Let's dive into it and figure out new solutions for you. So that's another way to really align with what the market is looking for in their social aspect. Something that I'm learning this year as a takeaway from 2020 is to cement relationships with longer term agreements with clients. If a client is looking for a partner that is more stable and predictable and can optimize their budget, then take what you're doing for them at an ad hoc level and offer it to them over a 6 to 12 month period and say, I will give you more value than you're currently getting by giving you more service or more delivery if you can agree to a monthly payment plan or a monthly contract amount, so that you have a predictability in costs, you have a stable partner that is going to be there longer term, and you get more value for what you're investing. And I've taken 2 or 3 of my top clients now and moved them into this format of a relationship where I say to them, you throw in as much work as you can fit into a month for a set price. You're going to get more work, you're going to get more value, but I know what I have on my docket for the next 6 months, and you know where your costs are going to be. So it's a way to strengthen relationships when that is something that people are really looking for right now. And the second slide of this topic is choose your channels strategically. Everybody is sitting at home, whether they're working from home or not working from home. They're sitting at home and they're on their devices and they're on their phones and tablets, and they're in the digital space. So that's the channel that you should be focusing on. And I certainly encourage you to talk to a company like Sparkitects that can optimize your efforts in that realm. Use social media to your advantage. Start a blog and offer those insights and points of information and support to your clientele and to your marketplace. It's not something that people were doing as much as they wanted to. It was like, oh, I should be blogging, I should be doing social media, but I'm very involved in the operation of my business. Well, of course, that got the big slowdown effect of COVID. So take some of that extra time that you have and reinvest it in marketing through a strategic channel. And lastly, I really strongly believe that video is vital. If people are looking for their social connection, then there's no better way. You know, we're in the digital space, and that's fine. But video in social media and a blog in a video form will vastly improve your social media and your connection to your marketplace and your level of engagement.
Can I ask you a quick question there for video? Do you mean like actual personal video, like you know, like people do on Instagram stories when they speak and they talk to people about what's going on, or a Facebook Live that says, hey, I'm here? Or is that the kind of video you're talking about, or
Absolutely.
email type video? Like what specifically do you mean? I mean, and the reason I'm asking is, you probably know, if you see my LinkedIn at all or social media, business wise and personal not so much on Facebook anymore, but business wise and personal wise, Instagram, whatever, I'm pretty active on social media, and I do well with my clients on. So like, I have good clients who even tell me like, oh, we always look for what's going on in the trade show world because of you, like, just so you know. So I know it's there. But I'm not one who's been ever confident believe it or not. I mean it wholeheartedly. You would think so with how I maybe am in a group, but been confident on video. Is that what you're talking about, to get more personal on video because we've hit a virtual world?
Yeah, it is. And so the other option, the email, is still good. It's still good to get your face out there and give people a window into your personal connection if it's not, you know, in those other formats, the Facebook Live and the Instagram videos. But I like, especially for this group, you know, we can all carry this room. We can all take the mic and run the room, and we have that personality and we have that approachability. And it's a huge part of everybody's brand here. We all have a personal brand. And if you're not getting that across, then you're not doing it justice. So yes, I think, you know, turn on Facebook Live and just talk and just be you, but be real and be genuine and say something of value. And I mentioned this to Grant. It's too bad he's not on the call right now. Like, he says things to us anecdotally all the time. And I always tap him and say, you should just say that into your phone. Do the same thing you said to us on a Facebook Live and say, guys, I've heard about this thing happening in the marketplace right now, and I want to give you a little PSA about this and let you know this is what I'm seeing. Take it for what it's worth. You know, use this, but build up your personal brand that way, because that's how we get business, is that we make personal connections.
Have you done that personally? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but are you comfortable? Are you starting now, or have you? No, and I mean that in a genuine way, because, you know, I look up to you. I refer you. I mean, I think you're great at what you do. But have you hit that where you're doing it, or are you thinking about it, or where is this coming from to start? And I find it interesting because I've been hearing that on different webinars and things I've been on, and I'm just trying to figure out how to incorporate that with my not so confident in doing videos.
Well, it's a bit of the shoemaker's son, where I don't do as much for myself as I tell other people to do. It is something I am aspiring to. This Keynote series is part of that. But I'm also planning, like, one of the things that I'm looking into is connecting with Stacey Maynard and learning more about podcasting, because I think that is another option, right?
And she's awesome.
She's fantastic, but she's in that realm and she's, you know, starting to master it. So I would like to align with her a little stronger and say, you know, help me figure out how I can get parts of my personality, but also parts of just the way I think and the way I do business out to the marketplace. But if I was a Grant Gilmore, if I was a Tim Keeler, I would certainly be doing that. I would certainly be saying, I need to carve out time to be on social media in a video format. I'm not consumer driven as much as those two guys, so I'm not doing it right now, not to say I shouldn't. And I'm also not really in a business development mode right now. I'm my docket.
Well, LinkedIn has stories now, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. That's kind of asking more. I thought that might be the platform where I should be as far as trade shows and conferences and events and virtual events, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I was wondering if you knew, you know, if it was a bit about LinkedIn now adding stories to their platform for business.
Yeah. And I think all of us can say, if we're in a situation where we're bidding for business and we're up against two or, you know, one or two other suppliers or companies, we know our stuff. So it's going to come down to who connects with the client the best, who connects with the prospect the best. That's what it's going to get, it's going to be. Like I mentioned to Grant that there's a real estate agent in Orangeville, and he does these videos and they're great. And it's not a better property than any other real estate agent, but he's really personable and connects really well over the camera. And I'll watch any showcase video of his because he makes it interesting and engaging. And he already has a reputation with me for that, right? So we can all do that. We can all do the same sort of brand building for our personal brand. So there's no reason why we shouldn't. And it gives you a drastic advantage over your competition, I think. So thanks for the question. That really helped me flush out that point. I appreciate it. And the good news is that was the last point. So thank you very much for going along with that ride with me. But basically, when we're seeing trends where the marketplace is looking for a different thing now. They started off saying we want this great customer experience, and COVID dropped that down into saying we just need to take care of the essentials. And it's starting to swing back up into let's be a community again, let's be social again. So that's the trend, and we've given you some strategies on how you can meet that trend and adjust your marketing to line up with those.